That's it. The season has come to an end, and my oh my, was it a good one. We got to witness teams rise to the occasion and some teams fall. We were able to crown champions and almost record setters. But what I can say right now is this season did not disappoint in the slightest. We got to see the best of the best, hard hits, crazy catches, and for us, we got to do it with you guys as we watched every single weekend. What can I say right now is what's next? What is next for Turf Talks? What are we going to do now that the season is over? Seemingly nothing else to talk about and do. Well, the season may be over, but we're just getting started.
Off season. Let's work. Hey, plotting my escape. This game right is fake. Got a couple M's hiding in the safe. Imagination turn 100.
After a long break, people thought it's over. It's never coming back. It's never starting again. Well, guess what? We're proving the haters wrong, as always. Welcome back, guys, to the official first episode of our Turf Talks off season. We do have the boys back in the house today. Gentlemen, thank you for being here as always. How we doing? Feeling good? Now, Dalen, I think you have something you want to show the audience. I think you put something together pretty cool. You got to show us.
I suppose.
Since we're continuing this, I guess, trend of just having new apparel, that's one of one. Nobody else can get it, but we have stuff going out there.
This is one of one, but we're always progressing to
collector's item.
It's a rookie auto.
Bring more things to you guys than just a podcast. So this is a little retro shirt. Don't mind the faces. We can get better pictures of us, but a little retro look.
I love it.
Let us know in the comments if you like it.
It's so funny. I love that so much. But yeah, guys, thank you guys all for watching. As always, like we said, we made it through the entire NFL season. A few weeks ago, the Kansas City Chiefs won their second Super Bowl in 2 seasons, back to back. I believe is what they call that. But thank you guys all always for watching, liking, subscribing, comments, all that kind of stuff. Overall, how's it going to work? Just so you guys know. So we are going to start posting every 2 weeks just to put that out there for you guys. Every other week, that is when you have a new episode coming out. We'll try to trend it towards something that's still happening in the NFL world, but at some point we'll just kind of start doing our own thing, having some fun with it too this off season once clearly nothing else is going on. But hey, what does that mean? Why are we here today, gentlemen? Why is this week, honestly, when you're seeing this video, why is today such an important day in the NFL world?
This week is the NFL Combine.
Mm-hmm.
This is where guys try to show they are the man at their position.
It's true. Combine is a really fun time because it's kind of a precursor to what's going to come with the NFL draft. That means the NFL draft is, I think, only like a month away, which still sucks that we have to wait an entire month after the Combine to even get the draft finally over. But it's a fun time of the year because you get to see a lot of your college athletes that some of us watch more than others. Wyatt, I know you're probably a bigger fan of this Combine than most people just because you get to see all of your athletes kind of put them on, display of what they're what they're capable of and whatnot, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all the athletes in one area. All the teams get to interview them. So really, it's just a time of just everyone in one spot. And I mean, Rich and Dion, and they do a great job announcing the thing. So NFL Network does just a tremendous job. And it really is about the athletes. Now, granted, some won't be participating, unfortunately, but we get to see most of them in one area. And it's a pretty cool thing to witness. I'm not going to lie to you.
I have the schedule in front of me here too, so we can kind of break it down day by day if you really wanted to, but of like what positions go on each day and that kind of stuff. But yeah,
don't forget the
Spence,
bloopers.
I would say, Spence, are you a Combine fan?
Just for Madden.
Yeah,
The Madden cards.
Always another drop.
What's his name? Sandcastle. What's Dion?
Leon Sandcastles.
Leon.
You can't even forget about the legend Leon Sandcastles.
Who was Jerry? What was Jerry Rice's name at the end? Fuck.
Jerry Rice, or was it something Rice Cakes? I don't know.
Yeah, it was something Rice Cakes. Yeah.
I can't remember what his first name was though.
Was it Larry Rice Cakes? Yeah, I think
I don't
so.
know if it was Larry Rice Cakes.
I mean, this is ultimately just another way to get your draft stock up. Like if you're coming in late first round, you can maybe boost yourself up to top 10, top 15. Like player that I'm thinking of that this could really help them, the combine, is Jaden McDaniels. I think Jaden McDaniels can prove the type of things that he can do, that he might not be good at certain things that like Caleb Williams is, Michael Penix, all those guys. He might not be better than those guys at certain things, but there's also a bunch of other things that he is. I could say he's better than those guys.
Mm-hmm. The fact that the NFL Combine, I think, is as popular as it really is kind of a testament to the level of like fanhood that the NFL commands from their fans and their people that they watch it, because every other professional sport has some sort of combine. This isn't like the only thing that the NFL has. I mean, I know the NBA does theirs. I know baseball does theirs. And I'm sure a ton of other sports have their own some sort of combine. But they're not like super heavily televised or as promoted, I guess, as the combine for some reason. And I think it's just because it's the NFL. It's one of the biggest sports leagues in the entire world, for sure, in the United States specifically. But I feel like it's fun. The fact that we're all waiting for the Instagram post from the NFL to be like, this guy just ran a 4.440 or whatever it was. Like, it's always exciting to see how fast or how many reps they're going to get, or you name it. Like, it's all really, I remember like for you, Trey, last year, Darnell Washington had like an insane like sideline catch in one of those drills. Then he was like pretty much throwing that, whatever it's called, that sled dummy, like to the side.
Like 6'8" or heavy, like 250 pounds, whatever it is, and he ran like a 4.6.
It's not just for us though. It's for these NFL players too, like you were mentioning, Dalen. There's some players that are going to skyrocket up draft boards, and we'll talk about the draft here in a second, because of their performance on, you know, in the combine. Mm-hmm. Now, the combine, just to put it out there for you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong on some of these things too, just to get it out there. There's a lot of different, I should say drills is a better way to say it, that they're going to put on at the combine. One of the bigger ones and probably more popular ones are going to be 40-yard dash. That's always a huge, you know, televised one there. They always have like a vertical jump, just measurements of the guy in general too. They do some more individual like position skills, like field skills, whether it's like linemen doing different, you know, get up and shuffle and move and, you know, shadow each other, or if you have the receivers running routes, your quarterbacks throwing, you know, the ball and that kind of stuff. Like, you're always going to have some individual like position specific stuff. You're always going to have the bench press. You're going to have like the 3-cone drill, that kind of stuff mixed in with it too. So it's a pretty good testament of what kind of athletes are you looking at. And where you're going to see most of the skyrockets, though, is probably in your specific, the 40s. It's going to be in the vert. It's going to be in the bench presses, where you're going to see, okay, this guy is an athlete.
Another thing that's like behind the scenes that us as viewers don't get to see is them meeting with every single team that is looking at them. I mean, these teams, some of these teams have been scouting these players for 2 years. So, I mean, they really just want to meet the person, just get to know them even more and see if they mesh with what their coaching staff wants.
Yeah.
Wasn't this last year when it came out that CJ Stroud got that terrible score on that stupid ass test that they did? And he didn't know how to fucking read a field, anything like that, or he was too dumb.
I mean, I think there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes into this. Like, maybe some players are purposely not scoring as well because they know. I mean, think about it. If you're going to the number one overall team, in most cases, Chicago Bears this year are kind of a unique situation. You're not on a good team in most cases. You're not going to the next best team in the NFL. You're going to a pretty shitty team. Look at Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. They technically got back to the first pick overall again. They obviously traded to the Chicago Bears, though. So, like, they literally weren't any better. They're actually worse. Well, why?
Top 10.
You broke down your
top 8 overall players.
Okay, go through it, man.
And I'm not going to lie to you boys, they're all offensive guys. Like, this is a very offensive draft, and I really do think our first, I wouldn't say 8 picks would be all offense, but I think 6 out of the 8 will be offensive players. And I'll just start out. I mean, this guy, is the highest graded player ranked by ESPN, Marvin Harrison Jr., who, he's 6'4", 205. great route runner, big hands. I mean, he did not catch a ball underneath the sticks. 67 receptions, 1,200 yards, 14 TDs, and averages 18.1 yards a reception. 2, there's going to be a lot of controversy in this, but I really do believe it's Drake May. Prototypical quarterback, 6'4", 230. Arm talent is through the roof. I mean, he can make every throw on the field, plus get physical downfield. Now, granted, his 2023 season was not one that you would want to look back at, but because his team wasn't as good. If you want to look at purely stats, he didn't have as great stats as he did his 2022 year when he had all of his receivers and a really good running back tandem to go off of it. But I really do believe that this guy is probably the best quarterback in this draft. I mean, his 2022 stats were 342 completions out of 517, 66 completion percentage, 4,321 yards, and 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
He reminds me of Josh Allen, just how big he is and like how he runs stuff.
I was going to say
obviously as good, but like
either a Josh Allen or even like a Herbert in a way.
Yeah,
like
he's compared to Herbert right now. That's his
comparison. Which, if your comparison is Justin Herbert, who is for some reason has been like sneaking under people's like best quarterbacks in the NFL because he hasn't really been able to do anything. His team's always been bad around him. He is insane. He is so good at football. It's not even funny.
What was Drake May's passing yards?
This year, 3,600 yards. Last year, 4,300.
So this year, he was like 100 or 200 yards short of passing Lamar that won MVP.
His best receiver didn't even get to play most of the year.
Number 3, we're going back to receivers. I mean, there are 3 receivers on this list, boys, and they're all very good. And number 3 on my list is Malik Neighbors. Now, this guy out of LSU, 6 foot, 200 pounds, has speed that can take the top off. I mean, great separation speed, great footwork as well. Hands were amazing. He had 89 receptions, 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, averages 17.6 yards a reception.
Dang. Yeah, I just like to add on to about the Malik Neighbors thing, because Malik Neighbors is actually really good, but the reason he doesn't get as much credit is because he has Marvin Harrison Jr. in his class, who is levels above.
And Roma Dunes.
I was gonna say, so there's 2 other. I'm sure he's up there soon too. I think there's 2 other receivers on this list. Not 2 others, but including Malik Neighbors. Those 2 would have been by far number 1 best receiver if they're in any different draft class than the same one as all 3 of them. You know what I mean? Like there's in a way, there's 3.
Dude, these stats on these guys are nuts.
Like crazy good receivers in the same class, which in a way it's good for teams in the NFL, but bad for them. They could have been the first, receiver off the board.
All right, we're gonna move on to number 4. Now, this is probably the most. I'd say, if you didn't think he was gonna be number 2 on my list, you would have thought he was gonna be number 1, and he's not. It's fucking Jaden Daniels, baby. This kid is unbelievable. Like when I'm talking what he did at LSU. He's the most veteran starter out of all the starters here. 5 years, started 3 years at Arizona State and 2 years at LSU.
Now, I don't want to stop you with your whole list right now, Wyatt, but because I wanted to ask this question after the fact, but I think we've just hit the guy that I think is going to be the biggest topic of conversation at the Combine, which I think I heard Jaden Daniels isn't even going to do anything.
He's not running.
My opinion, though, for a guy like Jaden Daniels, there's no question this guy's an athlete. Nobody questions that. The biggest question is he going to be able to make the throws he needs to make in the NFL? The one thing that helps athletes, if you're an athlete in the NFL, which yes, most people are, but there's some guys that are athletes amongst athletes. I'm thinking of Lamar Jackson's. I'm thinking of Anthony Richardson from last year. Those guys, which Lamar's kind of an outlier because he wanted to prove a point that he's not just a running back. He's not just an athlete. He can do more than that, which it worked out for him in the end. But I think Anthony Richardson got picked 4th overall last year because or 5th or whatever it was, because he ran so well and tested so well in everything when it comes to the Combine. And that's how the power of this Combine, because it puts everybody on display.
I mean, you've seen the breakaway speed. He's shown 5 years of tape on film. We've seen this guy. So we really, for him to do the Combine, it's just you can only lower your prospect. And right now he's ranked top 4 right now. So like, and I hope Washington isn't stupid, and I hope we pick him because one, you are correct. He is Lamar-esque. Like this guy, great in open field, very elusive, does everything that he does, sees the field just very clean, like makes the right cut when he needs to. Now, granted, we'll go back to that. Yes, he does miss on the big plays. Yeah. He's mostly on the run. LSU was one of the most pressured teams in the SEC, like that were ranked, I should say. What Jayden Daniels did was he led his team. I mean, he is mentally and physically tough. He's willing to take a hit. That when he week 1, we'll go back to that against Florida State. He tried to hurdle someone on like a 3rd and 4. It was clearly short, but he got rocked and like he was just hopped back up, came back out there, and like they almost won the game.
That can be a bad thing too, though, can it?
I was gonna say the one thing
he's not smart with it. He puts his body on the line. Yeah. You like that in a player, but like you can't make a franchise quarterback.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say there was a few things I was gonna add to that, just because, yes, he is physically and mentally dominant. There's no question about that. I think the one thing that comes into question for NFL teams is the turnovers that come with that. That's the thing with Lamar Jackson. He kind of turned a page that it's not just like every NFL owner or coach. They don't just want a pocket passer. They can see their team building around a mobile quarterback, just like Lamar Jackson.
Well, I heard like someone talk about it on a podcast about how the game used to be get the guy that has cement feet that sits in the pocket, doesn't want to move, and then you have Mike Vick. Mike Vick changed the game.
Yeah, and then, Mike Vick too.
And then it went backwards. It went like, all right, pocket presence. That's what we need, pocket presence. And now it's becoming who can get from the pocket to the end zone the fastest. Like that's literally every quarterback except for maybe 2 that don't run.
Yeah, I was gonna say even your best, if your top 5 list of quarterbacks, there's a couple pocket passers, but for the most part, I think it's pretty unanimously like Patrick Mahomes #1 best quarterback in the NFL. Pat Mahomes is a very dominant player, both running and passing, definitely more of a passer, but he is very elusive and doesn't get sacked because he's able to get out of the pocket. Lamar Jackson won MVP.
You're able to extend the plays.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson just won MVP. The one thing that Lamar Jackson can do that not a lot of other quarterbacks can do, though, and it's something that he's learned to do, you have to be able to be smart and not take hits as a quarterback. Lamar has been able to do that better than
he's not
anybody. No, that's the real big, I think, concern with him is the fact that he's kind of a slight guy. He's not a huge quarterback, especially as a running quarterback.
Anthony Richardson or like Cam Newton that can
6'5"
take a fucking linebacker hit.
I think Jayden Daniels is a very good prospect. I think he's actually moving up to draft boards, right? I think it was pretty unanimous.
He definitely has the most question marks around him for quarterbacks for sure.
He's the biggest, I would say, risk,
very high ceiling,
high risk, high reward player right now. Yep. A lot of these other guys are pretty like these guys are going to be dominant. Doesn't matter who's the risky guy. It's probably Jayden Daniels.
Everyone wants to maybe say he's not as good of a passer as Drake May or Caleb Williams, but he did have the highest completion percentage this year as a quarterback, so at 72, which is nuts to think, and had 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions on top of that, which speaks for itself in my eyes.
Keep going.
All right. This guy, controversial guy. I'll put Caleb at 5, all right? I have respect for Caleb.
Is he a controversial guy, or are you controversial putting him at 5?
I think that's what's controversial.
Okay, and that could be the case.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, Wyatt. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, you're good.
No, and that could be the case. I'm agreeing with you guys too. Like, I could be the controversial guy, but I don't understand what everyone's seeing. When I look at this guy, I mean, he's played in the Big 12 and Pac-12. Both not good defenses. And when he played against ranked defenses this year, which he played UCLA and Utah, both losses, bad losses too. And they were ugly. And whenever he he can make all the throws. That's not what I'm saying. But when he's just moving around the pocket and just scrambling and he's getting away from guys, that doesn't happen in the NFL, buddy. This isn't guys running 4.7s. This is DNs running 4.4s coming at your ass. They're 230, 6'4", Myles Garrett. So I don't know if that will translate to the NFL, but for the most part, yes, he is a great quarterback, and I will say that for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, to add on just quick, Wyatt, when you were talking about what he played in the Pac-12 and Big 12. Yep. Also, I mean, last year we all watched a few USC games. I know me and you did, at least, Wyatt. Yeah. And that USC defense was really bad. So in his mind, he was probably thinking, I have to go out there and like pretty much put the ball in my hands the whole game to try and win us this game, to be able to score that much. And so, which, yeah, he did make some risky plays, tried to do too much, but yeah.
From a talent perspective, Wyatt, what is Caleb Williams really good at? What's
awareness? His awareness, like, is his pocket awareness is off the charts. He just sees that defender coming off the edge, and he just knows when to get out of the pocket, and he keeps his eyes downfield to see his receiver down the field, which one of his best attributes of his game.
Yeah, I think to add on to that, I think he has the best overall arm strength for these quarterbacks.
I would argue Drake May, but
yeah, I was gonna say Drake May too, but I'm just saying overall, like any pass, I think he can make about any pass.
He's also one that I don't think is working out at the combine either, and pretty like doing nothing. I think he's just
I said, it would just hurt these guys' draft stock at this point,
especially Caleb Williams. But good, nice, keep going.
All right, number 6, a little different, but I'm going Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. I mean,
Notre Dame, baby.
This guy is good. He's 6'8", 315, had a 93 overall grade. Great footwork, resemblance Trent Williams. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet there. Number 7. Speaking of tight end, Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, great size. I mean, projection, kind of like a Sam Laporta in my eyes. I mean, can move down the field, catches the ball very well, and is always in sync with his quarterback. So that's, for the most part, I mean, he averaged 12.8 yards a reception too. So like even after the catch, he's getting downfield, breaking tackles, and the best tight end in this draft by far.
Well, I feel like a lot of teams are gonna want Brock Bowers based off the fact that you have Travis Kelce, Laporta, like you said, guys like that are agile tight ends that can catch the ball just as good as a receiver. That's what teams are looking for right now.
I mean, the guy's 6'4", 240, so like he's got the size and the speed to hang with the big boys up there.
I was gonna say the one thing with Brock Bowers, I feel like Georgia used him in a lot more ways than like a typical tight end's used. Like they used him as like their jackknife player in a way. Like they were running
reverses,
like just reverses and jet sweeps with their tight end. Like it was just weird stuff like that.
Better athlete than everybody.
Yeah, so to say like he's
better than everybody.
It's confirmed he's an insane athlete. Is he as good of a blocker as the best tight ends? I think that's a big piece of it. It's like, can he block, or is he just a receiving tight end? What is he, Wyatt, in your opinion?
This guy, I think he's the complete package. Like this guy's been around in the NFL for a long time.
Nice.
He showed me enough at Georgia the 3 years that he was there. Like he was doing it pretty much all, and being basically the number one guy for Georgia, being covered with safety over the top. Like this guy's good. I'm just
Brock Bowers is going to be fun to watch test because I'm sure I think he's going to do everything. He's going to be fun to see. How fast is he actually? How strong? How much of an athlete is he really? And he's going to probably not fly up draft boards because it's kind of a niche position. Like if you don't use a tight end, then you're not necessarily going to pick him up in that case because it's like we have bigger.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, I mean, the tight ends. What other tight ends are there that are as like mobily good as Brock Bowers? There's not many. If a team's looking for a blocking quarterback, or tight end, there might be better options.
Cade Stover is the only
tight end with the full package. I mean,
Cade Stover. I mean, he's 6'3", 230 out of Ohio State. I mean, he's also the complete package.
The only question I have with Stover is I don't know how teams are going to use him because he is so good at blocking.
Oh yeah,
so I don't know if teams are going to use him more towards blocking than that. But I could see him being like a Tucker Kraft too, where he just is blocking mainly, but then he has those little short passes.
He can do it. He's got great hands as well.
All right, keep going, Wyatt.
Last guy, number 8, Rome Odunze. This kid, 6'3", 215 out of Washington, 92 overall grade. He's got speed to take the top end off. He's got a long stride, stretches the field. He wins his 50-50 balls. I think that's the biggest thing. When he's in a one-on-one coverage, he's bringing down that 50-50 ball. And for his size, he can use his leverage to really break off those comeback routes and little curl routes. So I think for him being 6'3", his footwork is off the charts. and I just want to get to the stats here. He had 92 receptions, 1,600 yards, 17.8 yards an average, and 13 touchdowns.
Damn.
These 3 receivers on this list are absolutely through the roof. I can't say that enough.
I'm gonna jump ahead of your guys. Is this the best receiving class we've had in the last 10 years? There's been some really good classes.
There's receivers that he didn't even mention.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Too.
Like
And
Keon
I wasn't
Coleman,
even gonna say
Brian Thompson, also LSU. Xavier Legette, South Carolina. That kid is very
Xavier
good.
Worthy?
Xavier Worthy as well. Adonai Mitchell, Texas. He's got size.
Like insanely loaded, I think, receiver class. It's still a really, really good quarterback class too.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
gosh.
you were saying receiver loaded. I mean, this class is a pretty big quarterback class because I feel like a lot of teams are gonna start thinking of having a quarterback maybe not start right away and sit him because like look how good it helped Jordan Love. Like I think more teams are gonna start looking at that because I mean there's so many quarterbacks other than Caleb Williams, Drake May. There's Michael Penix, Jaden McDaniels, Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler could go late rounds. I mean, this is a pretty good quarterback class, especially with next year. There's not many quarterbacks next year that are like, wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could think
strong.
There could be 4 quarterbacks in the top 12 picks.
First round, for sure.
Like Drake May, Jane Daniels, Caleb Williams.
I think it could be almost
JJ McCarthy. Might all go.
I say it could be 4 in the top 10 easily.
Well, you could argue that too. Like I said, JJ McCarthy is jumping on a lot of boards, and a lot of people might be looking at him.
I mean, 3 out of the first 5 are going to be quarterbacks. I think it's almost a given at this point.
The only thing that I have contradict that is the Patriots have 128 million cap space, which is like the most in the league. So like they could easily go get a veteran guy if they want, but it's just if they want to.
Think about it though. They're at the 3rd overall pick. They're looking like they could get either Jaden Daniels or Drake May, who is.
I think they want. I think they're taking Drake May.
Like, can you imagine Drake May and the Patriots? Like, I'm not a Patriots fan, but like, that'd be nasty in my opinion.
I was just saying it's a little different with him because he sat behind one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
No, yeah.
But
For
probably
sure.
helped him a lot. You can like see that in the play he plays, like the throws he makes.
It's the way things should be, Trey.
Yeah,
that's the way things should be. Like obviously we're rushing these quarterbacks out there, and they're just
that's what I was
but like you waste a quarterback behind somebody that's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, it's not. Why draft him then?
You're still sitting there behind a quarterback that has experience, that has played in the NFL, and you're learning at least something from him.
Yes, that's the big preparation. That's what most of these young guys like when they come in. They don't know how to prepare for an NFL game because they're the starter, they're the guy. All these guys are looking at them to like look up to. So like when you get to see like these veteran guys and really break down how they prepare for games, like even just on a Sunday. It's a lot of help to these young guys.
Well, overall though, guys, the combine. Is there anybody else that you guys are looking forward to right now that you're like, hey, I'm excited to see
Cooper DeJean
test Cooper DeJean from Iowa, right?
Yep.
Yeah, cornerback.
The cornerback.
Yeah.
Well, white cornerback.
This is a moment in history. Take a picture.
I think my guy is Jonathan Brooks out of Texas, running back. I mean, he is a big running back, and I think he's going to put out a good time and really wow some of these scouts.
Is it kind of a weaker running back year?
I mean, Jonathan Brooks, Blake Corum, Audric Estimine, Marshawn Lloyd, like these guys are pretty good. Like, I mean, you want to look at it.
Grand scheme of things, the White. Don't just look at it from who do we have this year. Are they good this year? Yes. But overall, is it as strong as a running back class as a few years ago, a couple of years ago?
I'd say it's average.
I've heard that it's not the strongest. There's nothing really to write home about.
It's average.
There ain't no Saquon Barkley in this group, you know.
Well,
Spence, you looking forward to seeing anybody?
Probably Jake McCarthy. You know.
Combine's gonna help him.
I mean, yeah, the combine's for guys like McCarthy, it's only going to make him go up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about a guy like JJ McCarthy, who I think has a lot more talent than some of these other quarterbacks that we've had previously. Like, he could test really well, and some of these quarterbacks previously they tested well, but there wasn't anything else to go home with them. But like, look at like JJ McCarthy though.
I think he's going to be a top top 12. There's teams looking.
If he runs a good 40,
I think there's quarterbacks that are better than JJ though.
If he shows off some arm strength, you're gonna have a team that's gonna bite on him and want him on their team.
You're 100% correct.
Be like a Zach Wilson. Yeah. It's gonna be like a Zach Wilson.
Whether that's the truth or not, you're gonna have a team that's gonna want to take a chance on him too.
I'll just add on to this, and I fucking hate this team. But I'll say this: he's a killer, dude. This guy, when Spencer talks about him, he ain't no joke. Like, I fully believe that JJ McCarthy is the 4th best player in this on this quarterback list, and his completion percentage was the same as Jane Daniels. He didn't have as many yards, but he was 22 touchdowns, 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, but he had an RTG of 167, which is by far the most.
I mean, he's a leader too. He's not just a player; he's a leader.
Well, and he's a winner too. He's not just a guy that like shies away from the big moment. Like, he was there and he did it. You know what I mean? Like, he's.
Well, yeah, that comes around guys again that coaches, when they sit down and talk to a guy, that's a guy where they're like, this could be a leader of our team, a quarterback that can actually lead this team. Because I mean, he's done it.
Is he potentially Zach Wilson? Maybe, but there's no way to tell. And yes, we're talking about all these guys now. There's a good chance that these guys may not even turn out in the NFL. That happens every year. There's always guys that are hyped up. But I think if anything, there's a lot more talent than there was.
I just want to say that Michigan has the most players going to the combine this year and broke a record.
It's big time. Shout out Michigan. Speaking of who's going to the combine, there's going to be a lot of teams at the combine. Every team's going to have some sort of representative, whether it's a coach or even just like scouting
Big
staff.
Mike will be there.
Whatever it may be. But thinking about it, though, that means there's going to be a lot of talk from team to team. We're going to probably see some pretty big trades this weekend, whether it's players for picks or just pick swaps, you name it. It's going to happen this weekend. I think Justin Fields, as an example, is one that might be traded within the next couple days here, from what it sounds like. We have a lot of quarterbacks that are looking for homes. There's a lot of teams that are looking for, new quarterbacks too. I think a lot of teams in the NFL this year are looking for a new quarterback. Some need a quarterback because they don't have one currently, or sometimes they're just wanting an upgrade. Regardless, all of this stuff is going to happen here soon, and that's all leading up to the NFL draft. So in a couple weeks here, guys, you're going to see another video from us. It's going to be our official mock draft 1.0, our Y Guy mock draft 1.0. We're going to go through Wyatt's first mock draft. We're going to grade it, see how he does, see how we think how accurate it's going to be, how not accurate it's going to be. And we'll have some, more updated, I guess, than some of these other mock drafts being out there, because it's going to be post-combine, which means we're probably going to have a little more solidified, draft board to begin with, what that looks like. But that's the next couple weeks here, guys. Anything else to mention, though, before we take off and call her a day?
I would say free start in a couple weeks. And our next videos, that's probably, we got to have a topic about that, too.
It's true. We just talked about Chicago Bears trading Justin Fields, and Trey goes, I want him. I've seen too many edits in him. Is he going to be a Steeler by the next time we're talking to you guys? Even though the NFL is done and over with, definitely is not done and over with when it comes to exciting news that's going to come here within the next couple days and week for sure. We're here to cover it. It'll be fun when we talk about it in a couple weeks. But you guys take care. Thank you guys for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. 2, check us out on all the social media platforms you guys think of. We're on there. But hey, see you guys in the next one. And peace.